Welcome to WoW You Should Know This. I'm Jordan, that's Connor, and we're going to be talking about WoW-related news that happened this past week.
And there was quite a lot of things that happened.
Indeed.
The biggest would definitely be around guild leveling is removed in Warlords of Draenor. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that perks are gone. They're going to roll a lot of perks into just your character passives like flight speed improvement and cost rebalancing. And some perks will still require a guild membership. So mass res, mount speed increase, those things you'll still have to be in a guild to benefit from, but you no longer have to grind a guild up to get those perks. They just come with having a guild. So this should hopefully move away from the big conglomerate guilds that we see on every server and allow smaller guilds to start flourishing and to be able to actually offer things to their players. The most controversial change, though, is the removal of cash flows in Draenor, but we'll talk about that more in a little bit.
Absolutely. Blizz also put out a new zone preview for the Warlords of Draenor expansion. It's the Frostfire Ridge. If you don't know where Frostfire Ridge is, it's basically if you were to take Zangarmarsh and then move it up a little bit and then freeze it. That's basically what Frostfire Ridge is. More importantly, the Horde garrison is located there. So if you're a Horde, you're definitely going to be spending a lot of time here. And I'm kind of jealous because they put up basically what the song in the background is, music is going to be, and it is amazing. I can't wait to buy it. I really can't. I hope they sell it.
And there's going to be a great photo op here of a mage casting a Frostfire bolt in Frostfire Ridge.
Oh my
Inception.
goodness. I can't handle it.
Mind exploded. Speaking of Frostfire bolts being fired at things, tanks. Blizz is going to change how tanks work in PvP. So right now they have a lot of health and they think that's a little unbalanced. And so they're experimenting with a new debuff on tanks to increase the damage that you take from enemy players by 25% when you're in a tank spec. Their end goal for tanks in PvP is to be viable, but the strategy is you do a little less damage than a pure DPS spec, but you can take more damage than a DPS spec, but only slightly. And there's good and bad things here. I think tanks should be able to take tons of damage and you just ignore them, but that's kind of what's happening is they're there, they take tons of damage, they soak it up, so you just kind of say, it's a bear, don't look at him.
I actually think this is funny that this came up because I've been doing a lot of PvP grinding lately, and I was talking to a druid who usually does PvP as kitty, but recently switched over to bear, and he was talking about how hard it is to die. You just live forever. Can't kill anybody, but you live forever. Do you remember in the opening cinematic for Mist of Pandaria how there was that kind of pirate-looking guy, and then there was a gigantic orc, and they had a little spat, and Chen Stormstout comes in and breaks it up between the two of them? Well, for the 4th of July weekend, Blizz released another little short of those two kind of nameless characters sitting in a bar. And I love this. I love when they do things like this because the animation is just so amazing. And most of the comments on the video were asking for a WoW movie. Everyone wants a WoW movie. And I think people forget that there is a WoW movie in the making right now. Actually, I don't think they're making it right now, but definitely a script has been written. I think a director has been picked, and some of the cast has already been selected. So even though it's not going to be necessarily an animated film, I think it'll still be cool. Although I still do really want an animated film.
Yeah, this movie is going to have a lot of CGI. It's not going to be completely human-based, but you're right, it's not a purely animated movie.
I want something from Pixar. That's what I want.
I want something a little bit more grungy, but yes, I've wanted a WoW movie since 2004 when this game came out, and I'm happy that it's finally started down that progression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so moving out of topics and into the discussion of this week, we thought we'd focus on cash flows since it's getting so much discussion on the forums that it just makes sense. So the idea here is the GMs in WoW have heard a lot of complaining that there are the game masters have heard a lot of complaints about guild masters being jerks and basically exploiting the cash flows. They get tons of gold, they don't put it into the guild at all, they don't allow for repairs, and so it's basically just feeding some sort of kingpin.
Yeah.
And Blizzard was even like, oh, well, we'll fix this, we'll get rid of cash flows, and then we'll just implement more bind on equip rares so that guilds can get BOEs and then sell them on the auction house for money. Like, well, that's also dumb, because then the jerk GMs will just take it, sell it for gold, and then keep the money. So they did something smart, I guess, is Blizzard turned to wisdom of the crowd. They posted on the forums, hey, this is our idea, but if you have a better idea, feel free to leave it in the comments. And people have been doing that. Some of the most popular ideas I wanted to talk about here, because they're actually relatively good ideas. The first one was, okay, rather than having gold be deposited into the guild bank, what if you just got 10% extra gold when you're looting, you as the character, so that you get the money? And I don't like this because it takes away from being involved with your guild. It's, again, you're just in a guild to get a perk.
Yeah, well, first of all, I am shocked to hear that you don't like the thought of getting 10% more guild for nothing, because you are very money hungry. But, I mean, I agree. There's no sense of community here. There's nothing that it's fostering. Why would I get 10% just for being in a guild? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Lore, who knows? Then we also have a discount for repairs. So now you would just get a 10% discount for all your repair bills if you're in a guild. And this is great for raiding guilds, but doesn't really benefit social guilds.
Why doesn't it? I'm confused.
Well, so if you're in a raiding guild, the amount of, hypothetical gold you would be spending on repairs is much larger than a social guild who's just going to be doing, RP things together. And so, although sure, there's a slight benefit for people in social guild, the value of this perk would really be focused on raiding guilds.
Yeah, I think there's the assumption here that cash flow was really only used for guild repairs.
Very, very good point. Do you know what I'm going to say? I feel like you know what I'm going to say.
What are you going to say?
Yeah, because the best suggestion, in my opinion, was creating some sort of guild cash currency, or gold that can only be spent on guild-related things. So this gold or currency that's deposited into the guild bank can only be used for repairs, upgrades, and bank tab expansions. And that's what I think a lot of people look over, is that as a guild master, you have to spend a lot of gold on other crap. It's not just repairs. Guilds are expensive to get off the ground. And so introducing a new currency, or gold that can only be used for guild stuff, now takes out the exploitation, because, the guild master can't personally benefit from guild currency, and still keeps that community feel of, I'm generating funds for my guild to improve.
See, I'm less concerned about guild masters exploiting the guild bank. They do a lot of work, as you said. They do a lot of work for the guild. I was one at one point, and I hated it. That's why I'm not one anymore. So I'm less concerned with that, because, how much could they possibly be exploiting? I'm more concerned with the idea that you don't care who's actually in your guild. You just want to spam just people just all across the board to get more and more people in, so that you do have cash in there, because more often than not, people cycle out as they do, and they become inactive, and so the only way to keep that pool of money healthy is to constantly be inviting people, and so these spammed guild invites have been going around. And ultimately, this having a different kind of currency for guild-related activity doesn't really solve this problem for me. Yeah, the GM can't really take the money out and exploit, the system, but it's still that you're still going to have spamming. You're still going to have guilds that are 300 or 400 people of, where 90% of them are inactive or not even level 90. This isn't a real. While this is probably the best solution offered so far, this probably isn't a viable option for at least what I would consider the problem to be.
Fair enough, and I don't think that we'll see eye to eye on this, and neither are anyone on the forums right now seeing eye to eye. So it's definitely still up for debate. Who knows what Blizzard will actually do with cash flows and a potential replacement, but I'm interested to see what comes out of this discussion.
Yeah, anytime you ask for opinions, you're going to get opinions. So. Now we're going to move on to what I'm going to call bonus rolls. And these are not really news articles, but it's just kind of fun little tidbits. And if you're not following Jonathan the Craft at the Crafticus on Twitter, you really should be. He works for Blizz, and he just put out the Molten Corgi pet model on his Twitter page. It's going to be a new pet that you can get in Warlords of Draenor. It's so cute. It's adorable. I want one right now in real life on my face.
It's so cute. I so badly want them to add an animation for it to do the Corgi flop because I would die. I would die.
Well, we need to get you one right now because...
You want me to die?
No, I just want you to be happy.
Oh, that's so nice of you. And a plug reminder that if you're interested in getting a Warlords of Draenor beta key and haven't been lucky enough to get chosen by Blizzard, Wowhead has got you covered. They have their giveaway. It's still going on for the next 5 weeks. Week 1 winners will be announced tonight. So it's free to join. It's relatively simple to enroll. If you haven't already, what are you thinking? The link is below. I think we both enrolled, right? You've enrolled,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, me too. So let's all enroll. And if you get a key and you don't really want it, you can always give it to Connor.
No, you can't do that.
You can do that.
No,
I looked up the rules.
It's a good way to get banned.
They said you could give it to Connor.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Wow, you should know this. We will see you next Monday.